Welcome to Chapter 5, Section 10, Dividing Mixed Numbers. And since we just learned and talked about dividing by fractions, and that you're really multiplying by a reciprocal, dividing mixed numbers adds just one extra step. All right? The extra step is that the first thing you have to do is this. This is the only new step, all right, from what we did last class. So the first thing you need to do is write 6 1/4 as an improper fraction. So we multiply the denominator and the whole number. We add the numerator and get 25/4. Then we have 2 1/2, 2 1/2. So you multiply the whole number in the denominator to get 4. You add the numerator to get 5/2. So 25/4 divided by 5/2. Now you are dividing fractions. And when you divide a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. So 25 divided by 4 times the reciprocal, 2/5. All right. And here, once again, we have a choice. We can do 25 times 2 and 4 times 5 to get 50/20. All right. If we do it this way, though, we then have to reduce and simplify. Or you can simply look at the fact that 25 and 5, those are multiples of each other. 5 by 5 becomes 1. 25 divided by 5 becomes 5. 2 and 4 are multiples of each other, so 2 reduces to 1. 4 divided by 2 becomes 1. And all our whole answer, or not 1, I'm sorry, becomes 2. So our answer becomes 5/2. Becomes 5/2. Up here, I would have to keep reducing the numerator and denominator until I could not reduce anymore. And as I've said before, improper fractions, they are not as nice to look at, but they're either easier to mathematically use. So we're still going to work on 5 divided by 2 simplifying. Well, 2 goes into 5 2 times with a remainder of 1. So it's 2 1/2. So that's our solution. Now, this bottom part says to check for reasonableness. Well, if I had estimated 6 1/4 was 6, divided by, we could round 2 1/2 up to 3. 6 divided by 2 is 2, which is very reasonable to our solution. All right, evaluating an expression, f divided by g. All right, well, this is the same way. Whenever you evaluate an expression, you are substitution. F gets put in 2 5/8. G gets plugged in 2/3. And now we need to write mixed numbers as improper fractions. So we multiply, we add, gives us 21/8. And we're dividing by, well, 2/3 is just 2/3. All right, so whenever you multiply or divide, whenever you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal, the flip. And now you have two fractions, we just multiply. 21 times 3, 8 times 2 is 16. All right, well, let's look at these numbers here. Do they have anything in common? 63, 16, can it be reduced? Factors 63, 9 and 7, 21 and 3, 8 and 2, 4 and 4. Nothing can be reduced here. So now it's a matter of writing it as a mixed number. And like I said, I'm okay with this part. But mixed number is still an important piece to figure out. 16 divided by 63. How many times does 16 go into 63? 4 times? Maybe? Actually, 3 times. Let's see. 3 times 6 is 18. 48. And subtract. That's 5. 13 minus 8. 5. 15. So the remainder is 15. So the answer is 3 15/16. Both are acceptable answers. All right, why don't you try some of these on your own, and then you can see how you did. So pause the video. All right, welcome back. Hopefully you actually paused the video and tried. 3 3/4. Well, 3 times 4 is 12. Plus 3 is 15. So my first fraction, 15/4. Then 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. So we're going to be dividing by 5/2. All right. Well, if you can simplify anything, oh, I'm sorry. Dividing by a fraction means reciprocal. So 15/4 now is being multiplied by 2/5. This is where it's good to know your multiples. You could make this 30/20 and then simplify it to 3/2. Or you could say to yourself that 5 goes into 5 once and 15 goes into 5 3 times. You could say that 2 goes into 2 once and that 2 goes into 4 twice, which still gives us the solution of 3/2. So you get to decide which way you like better. Part B, A divided by B. Well, we know A is 3 3/4 divided by B, which is 5/8. So let's convert to an improper fraction. Well, 3 3/4. You multiply to give you 12. Plus 3 gives us 15/4. So 3 3/4 is 15/4. You're dividing by 5/8. And now this problem is just like the last section. Dividing by a fraction, multiply by its reciprocal. Either multiply the numerators, 15 times 8, and this is why this weighs a little bit more difficult sometimes. So it's 120/20. which reduces to 6. Or look at the fact that 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 15 3 times, 4 goes into 4 once, and 4 goes into 8 twice. 2 times 3 times 2 over 1 times 1 gives us an answer of 6. So either way, you got it. You get the same answer. All right, now please make sure you express your answers with the correct units. So when you're doing story problems, you need to make sure you use the right units. So here's a story problem. Go ahead, read it if you want. We're going to estimate that 180 divided by 4 is approximately 45. So my answer should be close to 45. All right, write the mixed number as a fraction. 3 3/4. Multiply. Add. You get 15/4. Multiply by the reciprocal. That means take the reciprocal, flip it over. 4 over 15. All right, now you have to decide whether to multiply 180 times 4 or see if 15 and 180 can reduce it all. So see, divide 180 and 15 by the greatest common factor, which is 15. Well, I might not know that 15 is the greatest common factor, so I'm going to do 180, and I'm going to divide by 5. And I'm going to see that that becomes a 3 in the denominator. And 6. 36/3. And then I'm going to say, hey, those can both be divisible by 3 to give me 12 over 1. So, you reduce, you get 12 over 1, which is 12. So the team averaged 12 miles each day. All right, here's another. Mario took 4 1/3 day to travel this amount of distance. Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't even put the units, did we? 12, oh, it's here for us. Miles each day are the units. This one asks, how many miles did he average? Miles. Okay. Well, this many days, this many miles. 260 divided by 4 1/3. Well, 4 1/3, we multiply and then add. So you're actually doing 260 divided by 13/3. And when you're dividing, it's 260 times 3/13. All right, this time I'm going to pretend that I don't know that these two can be reduced. I'm going to do 260 because it's 260 over 1. So I have the denominator. And if you do 260 times 3, you get 780. And from here, I need to check. I will need to see if 780 is divisible by 13, which it is. So we simplify by 13, and we get 60 over 1. Miles per day. So that's how you set this problem up. All right. So please don't forget to do the CYUs, which are on page 299. You have to do only 5 of the problems, 1 through 5. All right, make sure you check those, show me those for your homework. This, of course, will be our classwork. Good luck.